Welcome once again to the show. Before we begin, prepare your ears to listen and your heart to receive as you take in the words that look to change lives, renew hearts, and open minds. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Door to Expansion, where I am your host, Anthony Hubbard, the founder and owner of Speak to My Heart Life Coaching. And for everybody who don't know, a life coach is, well, my mission as a life coach is to understand where you are and then help gain you and make sure you find that passion to help become a better version of yourself. And by helping you achieve the goals in which you set yourself up for. I'm going to introduce my co-host, Miss Stephanie Hollins Passmore, who's a certified marriage and family therapist and the owner and founder of the Narrative Shift. And she can define what a counselor is and what she can do for you.
Hey, good evening. Stephanie Hollins Passmore, licensed mental health counselor, marriage and family therapist, catering to a diverse population here in the Pacific Northwest. Here at the Narrative Shift, my therapeutic approach is not textbook, but I help clients make sense of their own experiences, share their narrative, and it is an honor and a privilege for me to be a part of their life challenges and life changes that is possible to occur in their healing process.
All right, then. So, as we conclude our series of financial literacy, we would be remiss in not talking about jobs or careers. I mean, we didn't discuss things, getting money, saving money, buying houses. But at the end of the day, where does that money come from? And that's what we're here today to talk about. We're here to talk about the jobs and careers. So, we discussed generational wealth building. We didn't discuss, like I said, real estate. But today we welcome Miss Annette Wise to the show, so she can provide us with her insight to helping people find work that is meaningful to them by using their skills and abilities, so they can basically develop themselves. And just as like a career coach, we try to find out, make sure you become a better version of yourself. So before I let her jump in here, I'm gonna give you a little background about her. I've known Miss Annette for a very long time. I won't mention any years, but I can say I did have hair at the time, and I was still performing in our church plays during Easter and Christmas services. Uh, so we go back a while, just to put it out there. So, with that being said, she is the founder and owner of Wise Career Moves. She has 10 plus years of human resource experience in talent acquisition, talent development, and succession planning. And after our brief discussion earlier this week, I can tell you that her passion is working with people and seeing them succeed, which that's what you need whenever you're looking for a coach. So, with that being said, Miss Wise, the floor is yours to provide the viewers what a career coach is and why someone should seek your services as a coach.
Well, good evening. And first of all, I want to say thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of this platform today. I'm very grateful for that. So thanks. And you're right, it's been quite a few years. During that time, my hair was dark and it's not anymore. So it's been a little while, but thank you, Amari Anthony, for having me on. A career coach, the best way that I can think about it is when you think of coaches in sports, what do? They look at the innate talent that you were born with, but they teach you skills to make those talents create opportunities to score or to do very well in your career. So that's what I do. I help discover what those hidden talents are, what those deep talents are that you were born with, those things that you're just innately good at. I look at what have you been skilled at? What is your experience like? And then I cross that with your passion to figure out what do you need to be doing? So I help coach you through that. And we go through a whole litany of ideas and thoughts to get you in the right place. So that, in a nutshell, that is what I do, and that is what a career coach does. We coach you and help you, guide you along a path or a plan to get you to the optimum place you need to be in making money.
Gotta love that last portion of there, making money.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what kind of drove you to become a career coach?
Well, what I figured out, I stumbled into the HR career because I'm an engineer by education and was doing the technical stuff, got laid off and found my way into HR, but I made a purposeful decision. And through a staffing agency, and I realized I love to deal with talent. It's the talent piece that I like because you can literally change. Hold on, give this here, but you can literally change someone's life by introducing them to a particular company or helping them to understand what it is that they like because sometimes they don't understand what they like and what they're good at doing. So that and that just gives me so much joy when I see someone gravitate toward that or the light bulb goes off and they say, "Oh yeah, I do like to do that. I can do that." It's just really exciting to me.
I tell you that to me, that's like one of the best feelings in the world. Whenever you see that light bulb that just pops up. And me personally, as being a coach for uh yeah X number of years, I didn't see it so often that that person come in and they be like, "Well, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do that." And just like you mentioned, you have to go in there and help them find that passion. So, is there anything, or do you have particular ways to find those passions out for people?
Wow, that is a really good question. I think there's a basic process that I use, but everybody is so different and we start at different places. No two people start at the same place on this journey, but the basics, we got to talk. We have to
Uh,
communicate. I have to understand where you are, where is it that you think you want to go, and then we'll figure out a path or a plan between those 2 points to get you there. Along the way, we'll talk about, just like what I said, what have you learned along the way? What are the skills you picked up? What do people say you're good at? So that's your innate talents that you were born with. And then what is your passion? And that could be what you enjoy doing. It could be work that creates a product or a result that really matters to your heart. So we look at all of that, and then from there we look at industry. We look at when we figure out what it is you want to do. What does this look like? This three-part stool, if you will, three-legged stool that I just talked about. What does it look like in the marketplace? What kind of function is it in the business? What kind of job is it? Then we figure out what industries actually have that job, actually have that function. And then we go as far as to look at, well, what companies have that particular job. And we'll look at the industry, we'll figure out if it's growing, if it's decreasing. We'll look at the projected salary for that particular industry. So we go through a full litany of what's available, what it looks like, how it's going to impact the person that's looking.
so, with all that being said, how long is that process?
It depends. Again, we're starting at different places. So,
Yeah,
you got to go through the interview process. If you don't know how to network, we have to learn how to network. So it could be weeks, it could be months, just depending on how fast the person wants to go. It really depends on them.
got you.
Professional coaching, it consists of given opportunities to learn from one another, from client to coach, coach to client. Many individuals call themselves coaches, but it's in the approach that differs, to the effectiveness of like meeting agendas. So what makes you stand out? We lost it for a second here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I was asking, like, what really makes you stand out amongst your peers?
I think it's my passion. I think when folks come to me or even employees, when I've worked with employees, I'm transparent, I'm real. I will tell them, I'll just tell them the truth. And I think that being able to build that trust very early, it creates that relationship. It causes them to be able to open up to me and to be as transparent with me as I am with them. And if we don't have a trusting relationship, as you know, in coaching, then it's ineffective. So I think just having the ability to build that trust and to create a comfortable situation for people is how it works and what makes it work for me.
Is anyone coachable, or have you had a difficult client or organization, I should say?
Well, that's a very good question, Stephanie. Um, No, not all people are coachable because they have their own idea of what they want to do, and you may have a recommendation for them, and they simply don't want to do that. So as you know, you tell them what you think the best thing is, and let them make that decision. And if they choose not to follow your advice, that's okay.
So I got one for you. So in this charged up world that we living in right now, and this don't go by any political party, whatever. You got your own. Everybody have their own feelings on whatever it is. But whenever we look at the job market today and the lack of workers that have entered back into the workforce since the pandemic, as a career coach, what have you seen in your office in regards to the clients seeking employment?
Oh, wow. Clients that are seeking talent right now are having a very hard time finding people. I know that the people are out there, but they are not applying for jobs. And it doesn't, and the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's a production job, and I'm not putting weight on either end of this spectrum. I'm just simply saying it doesn't matter if it's a production job, a retail job, or a professional job in a technical field like software development or engineering. Employers are having a very difficult time right now to find qualified talent for the roles that they have open.
Which is sad because, like you said, all the people that's out there, and I mean, it's for whatever reason. I mean, some of the reasons could include, childcare. Maybe they during that past year they didn't have any childcare available, so now they're staying at home. They taking that role on. Now the companies are wanting them to come back, and maybe the childcare place isn't open, but maybe they didn't filled up too much. So I mean, I think everybody have various reasons. I know a lot of people say, well, that check is still coming out there, that stimulus check, and they getting unemployment. Hey, we all know it's only gonna last for a short period of time. So would you? How would you? I guess if you had to talk to people and say, look, what this is a service that I can offer you. uh you know I know you start talking about resume writing. Y'all help with interviewing skills and stuff like that.
We do. We will coach a person through how to interview, what interview questions perhaps to expect. We coach them on developing answers so that when they understand what the question is being asked, so that they can respond with something that they remember but doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds just conversational. And sometimes, honestly, interviewers don't really ask good questions to really know who you are. They may ask like a close-ended question that's simply yes or no. But we can coach the talent to go beyond that, instead of just saying yes or no, but to say why or what happened, to give an example, to give a situation, a behavior, an outcome that will really demonstrate who they are, instead of just a dry yes or no answer. So
I know. On one of my jobs that I have is helping transition service members, and I also go over the resume writing, the tips for interviewing and everything. And I know you said that you kind of prepare people for those we call them the same old job seeking questions. But I always throw different questions in there. One question I asked was because a lot of people put on there that they're critical thinkers. And to me, a critical thinker is somebody who's one that can think real quick, and two, are you just going to come up with an answer off the top of your head? So I said, well, here's a question. As we're going through the interview process, I say, why is a manhole round? And no matter what industry that you in, that's when would that question ever come up? And most people they'll just sit and be like, well, "What do you mean?" Answer the question. And how quick can you think of something? Are you comfortable now? Because if I can throw you off your game, it ain't the purpose of it, but I just you list certain things down there on your resume, and now I need to find out, are you really truthful? Because that's at the end of the day, I need to have a truthful employee. So that's one of I ask questions like that. Another question I ask, and this is a crazy one, and I'm gonna ask y'all this: if you had a stapler and it's out of staples, can you name 5 things that you can do with that stapler?
I can defend myself. I can nail a nail. I can use it as a paperweight. That's three. Stephanie, you got two?
Oh, I was going to say some of those same things. Uh, wow. And, huh.
But you see it, you taking the time to actually think about it though. You know what I'm saying? How many people have just blurted out and just been like, or I don't know. But you said you were a critical thinker, and that's what I'm trying to get to. So that's why I try to, put different things and put different tactics in there to be like, oh, I need to think about this right now. So,
You know,
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Mark Anthony, one of the things that I do in writing resumes is I tell them if you put it on your resume, just like what you're doing, it's fair game.
Yes.
If you don't know beans about taters in relation to that subject, you need to leave it off because it does make you look like you're not telling the truth. And that ruins your credibility very early in the interview. A good point.
So you, I know you mentioned you work with the actual individuals. Do you work with companies as well?
I do. That's a good question. Right now, I'm working with nonprofits and small businesses, and I work with them from the standpoint of doing succession planning, critical role succession planning, because a lot of them don't have continuity plans. If the CEO or the chief financial officer or the chief operating officer were to leave, or heaven forbid something happened, sometimes they don't know where the information is that they need to run the business, and they don't have a body that is prepared and ready to step into that role. So I sit with them and help them to develop their succession plans, identify what talent, what does that talent look like? Because just because someone is operating through a certain set of skills today, if that were changed or that person were no longer there, are there things they would change about that role? So we look at what are the new set of skills that are needed to fill this role? And then we look across the organization and do a talent assessment. Is there anybody in house that can do this? And if not, then we start looking outside to find someone to be ready to fill that role.
So you would you consider yourself as a bridge?
I'm sorry, say again.
As a
Bridge?
bridge. Yeah. So you working with the talent, you working with the
Yeah,
companies themselves, and then you working with the individuals, and hopefully you have two people right there that can connect, and you just saying, hey, I have a person for you, or here I have this company or this organization for you right here. And to me, that right there, whenever we start talking about networking, that right there is
yeah,
networking 101. What is the likely chance that somebody walk into there and say, hey, this is what I'm looking at trying to do. This is my passion. And especially when we think about nonprofit organizations, the pay is really not there. So you're doing it
right,
really for that passion and for that whatever that purpose is. If it's just that light bulb going off or whatever, that's what you're doing it for. So
right.
I commend you, especially working with the nonprofits and raising their level of comfortability up as far as workers and as such.
Right. And I love it too. They're very different because they just take a totally different approach to how they look at their organization. So it's been a very uplifting experience for me. And I love what you said also. I call myself a connector. You said bridge, so it is, yeah. So that's a very good description.
Well, with our infrastructure and here in Memphis with the I-40 bridge, maybe I should have said connector, not bridge.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah, a
I
little
had.
bit
I had
less
to throw that. I had to
painful.
throw that little dig in there. Hey,
Of
we
course you
we we
did.
working on it. We working on it. So the unemployment rate now is 6.1% currently, and just because me and you, we Arkansans. I looked it up and saw that Arkansas ranks 40th of all states with 10.2% unemployment rate, which is up 5.4% from last month. And although I think that's some good numbers that we 40th out of 50 states, how can we do better?
Oh, wow. That's a really loaded question because I think it's beyond just coaching. I think that the state government has to take some responsibility for the educational system. I feel like we need more focus on STEM. We need to beef up software development for just for example, software development jobs. It takes forever to get them filled because the talent simply is not prepared. The talent isn't there. But we knew this was coming 10 years ago. So why didn't we prepare then? So state government has a role in improving our education. I think the federal government has a part in this as well to make education more affordable. And the third part is the talent has a part in this too. They have to step up to the plate and get themselves involved, open their minds to being comfortable with working in technology or whatever the space is. But those are some of the things that I think we need to do to close that gap, to make those jobs available, to make Arkansas attractive to more companies so that the right kind of jobs come in that people are interested in. It becomes like a circle. It's a catch-22. That's my thought about it.
Well, I mean, that it was a loaded question, but you gave a very simplistic answer to it. And the state, federal, if y'all listening, this is some very wise words. Like I did that,
Yeah.
huh? So I mean, I totally agree with you. And one, a couple of programs we was talking about whenever we was looking at generational wealth and everything. We always talking about uh, money and how it goes and how it flows. But at the same time, we always push college for people. And
Mm.
right now, some of the jobs that's out there, you don't need no college degree. I mean, you might need your two hands to go out there and be a plumber or a laborer or something like that. And those are the big paying jobs right now. And yes, it may be a little hard work for it, but not everybody is built to be sitting behind a computer screen or, in retail or something like that. So I think the possibilities are out there for everybody to go out there and find something that they're good at or maybe interested in. And right now it's the best time, we start looking at career switches. This is the best time to do it. I mean, everything is out there. Now hiring is everywhere. So why not go out there and jump in and live on passion?
That's a very good comment, and it makes me think about a lot of corporations are looking at non-traditional avenues to find talent. And you're right, college is not for everybody. Some of the programs that are going on, for example, maybe you've taken some years out of the market to raise children or to take care of an ailing parent, and you're ready to get back into the workforce. There are groups and nonprofit groups and organizations that help you get back into the workplace by giving you like a 12-week or 27-week scholarship, or excuse me, fellowship, where they teach you new skills. And just like what you're saying, Mark Anthony, if you're interested in software development, they will teach you and coach you and give you those skills so that you can, and then sponsor you to get a job at a place that's looking for those kind of professionals. So you are exactly right. Because of the shortage of talent, also companies are going to like the 2-year colleges or you're right, the technical colleges. And because they're realizing that not everybody has to have a college degree to be able to perform a job. What experience do you have? Can you do the job based on what you did before? And that's very valuable. That's a very good point that you make.
And even, within organizations, Annette, I'm sure that you work with the existing talent that's there. So you help with professional development, so if they walk in, what do you call it, like entry level position, and then they have that mentorship within the organization, they can build upon their profession and promote easily within, right?
Exactly. That is absolutely my passion. When I love to work with early career folks and help them get started on their professional development. And one of the most enjoyable things is when they realize, oh, they come in one way thinking they want to do X, and before it's over, they're all the way back up to A saying, no, I really want to do that. So helping them understand that and get them started on their path is so enjoyable. It is that is a passion, maybe number 1A. But yeah, I love, I love doing that. But yes, and upskilling, that's another thing. You bring that up, Stephanie. That's a very hot area right now that corporations are doing, is because as we transform and we become more digital, we're having displacement of workers. So we have to, our workers, our employees are our most valuable resource. We can't just kick all
Mm.
this knowledge out the door because we don't do it that way anymore. So we need to upskill them. We need to invest in them and give them opportunities to do that personal development so that they become still employable and still can create value with the companies that they're in.
Yeah.
So good discussion there.
So in working with clients, how often do you run into imposter syndrome?
Oh, that's a good one. A lot. As I was saying before, it's like people don't value the experience that they have, and they often think, I can't do that.
Yes.
I can't. There's no way I can do that, and it just really it puts a damper on their ability to that vision. It just dampens that vision, and they start creating this they start operating at a level that is far beneath where they really can operate. So I do see that a lot. Yes.
So I know, Stephanie, you mentioned that to
A
her.
show of hands who has experienced imposter syndrome. I was going to say a show of hand who has experienced imposter syndrome. Yeah, it's
Yep.
very real, very real. Yeah.
I know
What were you
as
going to say,
far
Maranthony?
so working with transition service members, I have this all the time because they think that, I'm coming from the military. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna be the next CEO of this company, or I've been in the military for 20 some years, and now I need this high paying job. And then whenever they get out there, guess what? They taking trash out for somebody or whatever, and it's just they wasn't thinking long term. It was, oh, I got this skill right here, nothing here to come out, and I'm gonna use this skill. Well, how many other people have that same skill, but they have this experience? So who would I pick, and where do you fall out on the spectrum? And so that imposter syndrome, yes, it is very real out there. I somebody sent this job posting to me. It's a now this is it's Kings Island, and that's it's a popular place in Ohio where it's a amusement park, and they saying they're offering $18 an hour for culinary workers. Top this off with up to $4,000 in bonuses for actually showing up and working. Top that off with a season pass to every Cedar Park Plus, others along the way, free tickets for friends and family, as well as many special employee nights and more. Can you believe this? First, they paying $18 an hour. Then they're gonna give you a bonus, $4,000 in bonus, give you free tickets to come work for them.
Organizations are shifting to becoming very people oriented. And so they are throwing out those incentives left and right to keep, to attract, potential employees. So it's all about, it's all about the package, the whole package, right? It's not just, people are looking for like, oh, $18 an hour, that attracts me. They're like looking at paid vacation, time off, sign-on bonuses. They're looking at a complete package.
That's just so amazing to me. And
Where's
Does
this
that?
job at?
it's in Ohio. But the thing is, it's in Ohio. It's at an amusement park. So I mean, you think about all the people you have coming through an amusement park, and you trying to keep everybody safe. But that's in a culinary department. So you just back here flipping burgers, doing whatever, and plus you're getting
Making
all these
pretzels.
perks. Yeah, all these perks. I get family and friends into the park for free. I'm getting money on top of this. Psh, hey, I'm down.
Hey, that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner right there.
Hey, thank you, man.
That's awesome. But
So
that tells you where we are with talent right now, too, right?
yes,
People are not wanting to go back to work, and maybe the coronavirus really has still has them reticent about getting back out in public too. There that has to be a factor along with the stimulus money right now, I guess. That would be
uh,
my guesses.
yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah.
We just had a guest share. I guess she said I guess she's moving back to Ohio now.
Tell us
But
how it is when you get there.
I know. Hey, I am a friend. I'll come. I'll take that free ticket.
as we work with these clients, in talking about career and professional development, and the anxiety and things that is created and having to return to the workforce, I think it's important for us as coaches and as therapists to kind of like present a realistic expectation, like present the current reality to people, like we have to return to work, like there's not going to be this government assistance that's going to see us through this pandemic. We have to paint the current reality of things. Like, as you said, Anthony, we were talking earlier, like, those don't work, don't eat, right? You
Yes.
know, so yeah,
So
paint,
Stephanie,
paint, paint a put. Mm-hmm.
I got one for you now.
Okay.
So we've discussed generational wealth for the past few weeks and how we get to jobs and careers. But when we dive into the trauma world on this right here, do you
Mm-hmm.
think that when children don't see positive mentors and role models working, do you think that has an effect on them as well?
Somewhat, in therapy, we call that mental modeling for our kids vicarious reinforcement. So when children, through the process of vicarious reinforcement, they start to model the behavior, of individuals whose actions seem to get rewarded, you know. So of course they're going to model positive, and that's going to be reinforced. But I think work ethic and leadership, that those are learned behaviors. We just I don't think leadership is a innate skill. Those are learned behaviors. Um, and positive or negative, whatever the outcome, the perspective, that's just how we we see things. Um, Getting a little lost. So um, I think there's other influences, that once children become adults, that's where there's the organizational fit, whether that, you know, what the workplace culture is, what they buy into, um, good mentorship. So there's other factors that contribute to like good work ethic and hard work, So I don't think it's just something that children necessarily see. I think it's something that we grow into, work ethic and leadership.
I know, and then she brought up a good point. Whenever we start looking at people going to work, and we was talking about passion, and it's so often that we use that word passion and what we passionate for. And you've seen a whole bunch of quotes that basically state that whenever you wake up in the morning, if you are passionate about doing a job, you're not going to a job. You going to you finna go and do something that you really love, so you're gonna do it regardless. And do you feel that, I guess that's the reason why we're in a somewhat predicament that we're in now because a lot of people haven't really found that passion. I mean, because you look at years ago, we used to have people who would stay at one company for 20, 30 years. They get a retirement check out of there, and because they really love what they're doing. Do you think in today's society that people are really not understanding or liking what they're doing, and the reason why they basically not going back to work or uh, not showing up to work or whatever?
Hmm. That's a that's a multifaceted question there, more Anthony. Um, I- that could be a factor in it. There's so many things going through my head right now because some of that has to do with the generational issue with longevity on jobs and where we are today, and then not showing up for work. I I, I know personally for me, I modeled my work ethic from my parents. That is where I picked up how to work. It's like you sick, work. You don't feel work. I mean, and it's just it's I caught that. It wasn't taught. I caught that just by observing them. So for me that had a very big influence. Um, when you look at folks that don't show up for jobs or that job hop perhaps, maybe they haven't found their passion. And the the long termers back in the day that stayed 30 years at a company, I don't even know if it was passion that made them stay there, right? It loyalty to the company? Was it commitment to their family? It was just that culture at that time, the environment that they were raised in, and it was go to work, get a good job, and retire, and get the watch, and go home and do whatever. And today, it I was looking at some statistics, and actually, I think since around 2018, the average tenure on a job is right at or a little bit below 5 years.
Wow.
That's very different than back in the 60s, 50s, 70s, all of that long time ago. You wouldn't know anything about that,
I'm
but
shocked it's at 5 years. I thought it was
it
more
is.
like two and a half years that,
That's
you
a good
know.
point.
Mhm.
The younger generation, think about it. We've got five generations right now in working in the marketplace. And the millennials are the largest number of employees right now. And that group younger, you're exactly right, Stephanie. The average tenure is about 2.5 years. And if they
Mhm.
don't see a clear career path, if they don't see a clear definition of what they can do next and how quickly they can climb the ladder, they feel empowered and feel okay about leaving and going to find it somewhere else. And it's been said that the average person is going to have about seven jobs in their lifetime, and it's the norm. It's becoming more and more accepted that the younger generation, they're going to have a lot of jobs on their resume because that's how they think. It's what they expect. It's what they want. They have to have this career path defined and understand what's next for me and how do I get there. And they're not going to wait very long.
And they're like leaving
I
their
don't know.
jobs without having like a plan or like a next job to go to.
I haven't seen that so much. The experiences that I have seen, they have a definite plan. They have interviewed, they know exactly what they're going to do, they have negotiated that salary, and they just come in and say, bye, I'm leaving, and here's why. You can't tell me what the next role is. You can't tell me. I can't. What they look around and everybody's been there 15 years and nobody's going anywhere, and they have to wait until they move, or heaven forbid something happens to them before they can move to that next position, and they're just not willing to wait.
I wish I had that problem. I know leaving the
Which
military, leaving the military, I had this one guy. He called himself the renegade, and that was the reason why. Because he would get so far within the company and realize, hey, I'm gonna be stagnant right here. And
mm,
if you are a mind of I want to continue to excel, I and I'm that person who always talk against mediocrity. So, I totally understood what he meant. Hey, if I'm doing this project right here and I know I need another project management level job so I can excel in my career and they not giving it to me, then yes, I am going to leave. And I would think that would be the right thing to do. Now we understand there are certain companies that's out there, some the big box stores and the fast food restaurants. We understand those are high turnover rate jobs because people use them as their uh, what do you call it? Basically your starter job. And so, we understand those type jobs. But whenever you start talking about some of these tech jobs and stuff like that, you like, man, they switching pretty quick these days. And like you mentioned, that's one of the reasons why I have value. We can also go back to that imposter syndrome, and hey, I'm gonna beat my chest until you give me something, or I'm just gonna go ahead and walk out just to find out what the market is like anyway. Hey, teach his own. I just hope that you do have a safety net that's out there. There's so many resources that's out there for people to find jobs. And like with Annette, that's what that's what her passion is, to make sure people find this. That so if the resources are there for people, I always try to figure out why are they not using those resources. And the only thing I can come up with is maybe they just don't know about them. And do y'all have anything on the reason why people don't use the resources that's been handed to them?
Well, are the resources being advertised? I mean, are they aware of what's being offered? Um,
Well, so and it goes, and I understand it goes two ways. If the person has to market themselves or their services to put it out there, but at the same time, I also look at it and bring it back to the people: is are they actually going out there to seek out to see what's out there?
I
And
was going to say, yeah, looking on the web, they should be able to find resources to assist them.
and
Right.
you this is not to jump down on people. Hey, you need to go out there and get a job or anything like that. But I think this is more informative to say, look, this stuff is out there for you, and there are people out there that's willing to help you to overcome whatever your life circumstance is, instead of just basically sitting in the corner by yourself, thinking that it's you against the world when it's really not that way. I think sometimes we get too backed up in that one way thinking, and it's me against the world. And I don't want to tell anybody because if I tell somebody, then they're gonna understand how bad of a shape I'm in. It's like it's okay to ask for help. That's the biggest thing.
You're right. That's a good point. Um, if if you, I've heard it said this way before. If you put us all in a bag together and you shake us out on the table and you try to pick out who's got what issue, you can't because it's just, we're all the same. We're all going through something or experiencing something. So it really doesn't matter.
You got anything, Stephen?
no, I lagged out there for a second.
Uh-huh. I seen you kind of freeze up, so I was just trying to make sure. So here's a miracle question for both of y'all, and I just put it out there. What can we do? What can we do as citizens, as professionals? What can we do to get the word out there to get these people so they won't be allergic to work?
Is it that people are allergic to work, or are they allergic to being uncomfortable, like with transition and change?
We'll go with that. And that's why I just put allergic to work just to throw a word out there, and like I said, I'm not trying to ostracize anybody and be like, "Oh, you ain't got no job, and so this is the reason why you just scared to work." Nothing like that.
Yeah.
I just put that word in there. But go ahead with your point.
Yeah, I think people are allergic to like being uncomfortable with change, with transition and change, um, whether that's in their new or existing roles in the workplace. And one thing for sure in the workplace, change is constant, okay? And so the workplace is very systemic, work groups, teams, organizations within an organization. Um, so I think individuals are allergic to the dynamics of the workplace culture, whether that's stress, meeting job requirements, setting priorities, um, making decisions, difficult decisions. Um, and not everyone in their workplace roles are able to have any managerial discretion or leadership skills. Um, and they can't manage conflict, they can't manage these certain challenges in the workplace. And I think that's where Annette comes in with her professional coaching. It's kind of like how can she like reduce like uh, procrastination and purpose goal attainment, to achieve like both professional for the individual and organizational goals. So I think people are just they feel at this time that they can't manage challenges within the workplace. It's not necessarily the work, but it's managing people and those challenges in the workplace.
Yeah, we got to, and then we got to comment in there and say we need to start with ourselves. And I think that right there is one of the truest things. Starting with ourselves. Look at within our own self. And you know, this is gonna be a show that me and Stephanie probably touch on, in a few weeks. But we talk about our passion. Our passions could lead us to, you know, what if I used to mow grass when I was a kid and I found that to be my biggest passion? I think we have a lot of people who can be entrepreneurs who are scared to take that jump. We talk about resume writing, we talk about interviewing skills. Some of those same skills that you providing people is the same thing that they can take and start doing it themselves and become that entrepreneur. Because whenever you looking to go and get a contract with somebody, you have to sit down with them. So there's your interviewing skills. Whenever you have to write your resume, well, you got to build a business plan. So there's your writing skills. So it's not just with your services that in an actual niche to say, look, come here to get this resume and interviewing skills. It's much more than that. It's professional help that you're receiving about somebody who's been in that market. For me, it was the scariest thing coming out of the military after 24 years, and then to say, oh man, now I need to go into the civilian world and I need to fill this resume out. I don't know what to put on here. It was pretty scary. But then I also have people, the mentors and people that I can go to and be like, hey, does this make any sense to you? And with your services, I think that's why your service is so needed right now. And because, like I said, for those career jumpers, with perfect opportunity, and you already have that knowledge to say, okay, then if you want to switch your careers over, here's some information that these employers are looking for. I'm working with employers, so I know what they're looking for. So I think that's a great thing for you, Miss Annette.
That's awesome. I think it's a great time as well. And I think one of the ways that we can help folks get back into the market is doing this very thing, having a conversation about the job market is hot. It's really a talent driven market. It's not an employer driven market. So the kind of offers or I guess benefits that you were talking about in Ohio at this amusement park, those are the kind of incentives that are now available because employers are trying to attract good talent. So it is a talent driven market. But having these conversations, talking about it, word of mouth, talking to people, just letting them understand this is available. Come on, let's get back in here. We all have to pay for this tax burden now. All this stimulus money that's honestly, all the stimulus money that's been extended, somebody's got to pay for that. We
Somebody
have
got
to
to.
get back to the
Yes.
workplace. So that's the other side of that. That's a whole nother discussion.
we we all, I think we all love that. Love, well, we, like you said, we can't even call it free money because
It's not free.
yeah, it's gonna come back.
It will. Guarantee you.
Yeah. Well, y'all look like we about ready to the end of this show right here. So, Miss Annette, thank you for blessing us with your presence and knowledge today. I hope this information was well received and will be put into action by a lot of people. Uh, and even if it's not put into action by you per se, because maybe you already got that job, maybe you're already working in your passion, maybe you just retired. Pass this information along to other people. Let people know that there is employment out there. There are people willing to help you get employment. There also know that, from Stephanie's perspective, that, from the trauma portion of it, just because you was in a situation or you done grown up in a situation, don't mean you can't change the narrative of that. And that's one of the biggest things that we try to look for, to change the narrative, to get out that same way of thinking. So if you need to get your business or personal plan started, please contact Wise Career Moves, Miss Annette Wise, whether it be a business or personal track, that professional you've been searching for to keep your business succeeding. Or as the individual who, if you're just looking to launch your own new career, reach out to her. And also, if you like to any more assistance in becoming a better you, as far as your finances, relationships, or anything else, you can reach out to myself, speak to my heart, career coach. You can go online, you can go on Facebook. I'm there. You can always get me any kind of way. If you like, just send an email to me. If you need to receive updates, we have this program every Sunday at 6 p.m. So if you'd like to receive updates, please hit me up. Speak to my heart life coach at gmail.com. So we're gonna get down to the parting words. Annette, do you have any parting words for our viewers?
The only thing that I would say is, if you're not satisfied in the job that you're doing, in the career that you're thinking about changing, just reach out. Let's have a conversation and see if we can get something started for you. It won't hurt to talk.
That's a beautiful thing. Communication. We always talk about it,
Exactly.
but for whatever reason, it seems like it goes by the wayside sometimes.
It's
Miss Stephanie,
important.
you have. Go ahead.
I just said it's important.
Very. Miss Stephanie, you have any parting words?
Let me see. Like, if your profession is unbecoming to you, you should be going to Miss Annette Wise. So,
Aw.
I like that. Oh.
Thank you.
So,
uh,
my mom might be watching, so I won't say anything else. So, with that being said, hey Stephanie, next week, me and Stephanie, we're gonna be on. We're gonna be having a candid conversation on
yeah.
the vision of the Door to Expansion webcast. So, this platform that we on right now, we just gonna be me and her. We just gonna sit down and we're gonna discuss this platform what our vision is for this and the perspective that we hold as far as life coaches and counselors go. So, please join us next week as we give you our perspectives on why all these services are needed and for direction and guidance. I know a lot of people be like, I don't need to pay nobody to help me with my life. Well, the only thing I can say is look at your life. And if your life is good, you good. But if you do need somebody to come in and help you out in any type of way, that's what we're here for. Uh, Try to stay away from the taboo. Please stay away from the taboo of just because you see somebody that you really needed, or you crazy or anything like that. I think I think we all crazy to a certain degree, and sometimes we just need somebody to talk to, and that's the purpose of this is right here.
And you
So
know what? Coaching and therapy can be very therapeutic, even when things are all falling into place. It's just part of maintenance.
Yes.
That's it.
Sometimes you just need that listening ear.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I will leave you with two quotes. One from TD Jakes state, if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion. For passion will lead you right into your purpose. And the second one is from 2 Thessalonians 3:10 from the Bible. For even when we were here with you, we gave you this rule. If a man will not work, he shall not eat. So this has been another edition of the Door to Expansion webcast, and we out. Holla at you.